Hi, everyone. I'm your host, Patty Giarrusso, and this is Let's Talk Pets on Society Bites Radio. Today, we welcome back to the show Kathy Pobloskie from Lost Dogs of America and Lost Dogs of Wisconsin. And today, Kathy and I are going to talk about recruiting and retaining volunteers for your either a nonprofit organization or a local lost and found pet group. And this is important because volunteers really do make it happen. And without them, most organizations could not perform the way that they do. So we're going to talk about how you recruit them and most importantly, or more importantly, how do you retain them. So Kathy's joining us to offer her tips and methods for recruiting great volunteers and how to keep them happy. Welcome back to the show, Kathy.
Thanks for having me, Patty. Great topic.
Yeah. Yeah, it is a good topic, and I'm really glad you wanted to do it because this is something I really need some help with. So go for it.
Well, I don't have all the answers, but I guess I can share a little bit. I think of what works and maybe what doesn't work. Um,
Okay.
so in Wisconsin, we're really blessed. I'm just looking now to see we have 61 volunteers, official volunteers in Wisconsin, and then we have what I call our self volunteers, which are people that are really help us out a lot.
Hmm.
But maybe are really not under that kind of a official umbrella. Um, and so I would say that we have at least probably another 20 of those that are helping us. Um, and then we have, of course, just our fans, which are absolutely wonderful. And some of those fans actually sort of, think that they're volunteers, and that's okay.
Hmm.
Um, but so we start with a volunteer application on our website, and it's pretty simple. And people, if people show an interest in volunteering, we direct them to that. And then we have one volunteer who's an absolutely amazing, she's been with us really since the beginning, volunteer coordinator that
Mm.
keeps it all working and going. So she screens the people as they come as a and I don't mean screen as in she's trying to trying to deny them or anything. I mean, she's trying to make sure that it's a good fit.
Hmm.
And she'll talk to them on the phone, and then send them some stuff to read, and then kind of talk to them again and figure out where the best place in our organization for them is. Because we really truly believe that we have plenty of work to be done. There's lots of lost pets out there, and
Hmm.
we have all kinds of different facets of what we do. So we can usually try to fit somebody in just about anywhere. Some people love to be on the computer. Some people love to talk to people. Um, some people are just really good at graphic design. So figuring out what their talents are, and their skills are is often a big part of finding them a place where they're going to fit in and be useful.
Hmm.
Um, and so so that's kind of how we do it. We have a really high retention rate. Even when people leave, they often come back. They'll take, and we're always really, really accommodating about that. Right now
Hmm.
during COVID, we have several volunteers on a leave of absence because they're either like they're an essential worker or, we have nurses and things like that that just really need the extra time right now, or people that need time with their family, and
Hmm.
we're just absolutely fine with that. We understand that, and they take their leave of absence, and then when they come back when they're ready, and honestly, most of them always do come back. Um, and it's tough. We're a virtual organization. I seldom, we seldom meet the volunteers in the northern parts of the state, and yet
Hmm.
we may be chatting with them several times a day on Facebook Messenger, but meeting face to face, we've just never done it.
Yeah.
Um, so that can be kind of a bit of a challenge because you're trying to communicate via either phone call, but more often than not, just via message.
Hmm.
And sometimes some people maybe have a bit of a. I try to feel the people out a little bit. If we have a volunteer that's more comfortable on the phone, then I pick up the phone and call them. If it's
Hmm.
a volunteer that is comfortable messaging, well, then that works great, for me too.
Yeah.
So, um,
Like
Go ahead.
It is hard when you talk with these people all the time and you never get to see them,
Hmm.
it was hard enough before, but now it's even harder. I kind of lately prefer talking to people versus messaging people, and I think with me it's more because I feel like I'm doing 20,000 things at once, and so
Right.
talking on the phone sometimes is a little easier. For me lately, it feels like, I don't know, because I noticed, you get a message and then you get five more messages, and maybe the sixth message back had something you're supposed to write down or something, and you forgot about it.
Yes.
So
Yes.
it's hard to be a virtual organization. So, what else do you do? The whole volunteer coordinator thing is in figuring out their talents and skills. That's really an important thing. I don't have that. I need that. What else do you do?
Yeah. So, so the things I think the things in retaining them is making them. Why do they come to volunteers? What I always ask myself, why do these people sign up to volunteer? Do they want to help animals? Do they want to feel a connection with other people? You can figure that out and then try to meet those needs. I
Mhm,
think you have a really good chance at retaining them.
mhm,
And because, sometimes recruiting them is the easy part, and sometimes it's the retaining them that's the harder part. I would say that the two things that I have found that people don't like once they sign up to volunteer is they don't like to either have nothing to do, so they've signed
mhm.
up and then they're not really given a task, um, or they are doing something and then somebody else is also doing it.
Ah,
So they find like there's overlap.
yeah.
So, I think giving people a task and then trusting them to do it and not micromanaging them while they're doing it is really important. That's one of the things that we really try to let people be creative and figure out the best way to do something and then just let them do it, you know,
Mhm,
without being over their shoulder the whole time.
mhm.
Um, because I think that that's really frustrating. These are very one of the things that maybe drives me crazy about when I hear some organizations, especially animal welfare organizations, say, "Oh, volunteers are more trouble than they're worth," and I'm like,
Mm.
seriously?
Oh gosh.
That's yeah, exactly. Especially when the paid staff say that, right?
Mm.
Oh, volunteers are more trouble than they're worth. You train them and then they leave, or that sort of thing. And I'm like, oh my gosh, volunteers are they're just wonderful, and
Yeah.
these are talented people, and a lot of them have come from very from professional jobs or from things that took a lot of skill, and they have a lot of skills, and you've got to treat them with respect and acknowledge that they have things that they can offer you.
Yeah. Yeah.
It may not be in lost pet recovery, but geez, if you've got like somebody that was an accountant or somebody that was a school teacher or somebody that was a nurse, or they're very skilled,
Right.
and um, let's find a place where we can kind of merge that with what what they're good at in our organization. And it doesn't mean that because they're an accountant that they have to be the treasurer, but
Mhm.
maybe they can, maybe they're good with numbers and they can help with reunion figures or that sort
Mhm.
of thing.
Mhm.
Um, so, um, and of course, back to recruiting again. Another place to recruit from is once somebody gets their pet home, that's a good way to recruit them. They
Oh,
sometimes have
that's
become so enthused with how you have helped them, and they want to become part of that. They want to become
Mhm.
part of that. So we have several volunteers whose dogs were recovered through our
Mhm.
organization.
Yep.
And then, yeah, we'd love to latch onto those really quickly. Um,
Yeah.
and I do think timeliness is important. Once they've sent in that application, getting back to them as quickly as possible while they're enthused, and
Yeah.
um, uh, while they still have that real enthusiasm, is important. And then just making them feel like they're part of the team.
Yeah. I think that's one of my problems is, I know that I need a volunteer coordinator because I can't do it all myself, and I have a good team, a really good team, and I've been sick on and off the last few months, and these people that help me, my awesome volunteers, have really stepped up, and helped me enormously. But I think listening to what you say, talking with them, I should probably take some time because I do know that some of them are overlapping and double duty, and I bet it is frustrating to them. And maybe coming up with different tasks, as you mentioned, and the timeliness of getting back to people. I know that I've had people ask me if, want to volunteer, but I have been bad about getting back to them. And one of my problems, and maybe you can help with this, is I don't know what to say to them, what to do. So I think that whole idea of talking with them, just picking up the phone, I guess, and talking with them and finding out what their strong points are, and then going at it from there, because it's almost like, I don't know, I need help so bad, but I don't have time to get the help. I don't even know.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and I agree. That can be like a vicious circle because then it almost becomes quicker for you to do the task yourself than to find somebody to do it for you or to help you do it, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, that is a cycle that you sort of have to break. And I am just absolutely blessed to have a volunteer coordinator that is just amazing at what she does.
Mhm.
And um, but that being said, I mean it really is about like trying to talk to them and trying to just really figure, ask them what they did for a living if they're retired, or what they do for a living, and how do they, what do they enjoy, and are they a real people person, and
Mhm.
then what I always try to say to them now too is and this, what I'm saying, speaking for myself now, this is more for Lost Dogs of America because I also do a lot of the recruiting for the states that just have a smaller page, not a big organization like in Wisconsin, but a smaller page where we just need one or two volunteers. So when
Mhm.
I'm talking to those people, um, I always try to say to them, if you're not, if you do this for a month and then you say, I still want to be a volunteer, but this isn't exactly what I expected, or what I thought it was going to be, then just please message me and tell me. You're not going to hurt my feelings. You're not going to offend me at all. Let's
Mhm.
figure out another task for you to do, you know, and because you don't want to, have people come in and then be gone in 2 months because it wasn't it wasn't what they thought,
Yeah.
or it isn't quite, exactly what they hoped it to be. So, then try to figure out another spot. And I guess I have just a gazillion ideas in my head of things that I would like to do. So when I have people that I think might fill that role, I just say, well, would you be able to do this? And can you just kind of take the ball and run with it,
Mhm. Mhm.
And a lot of times they will. A lot of times they'll step right up to the plate and do that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I know I definitely need help with that entire part of things because we certainly need more people to help.
mhm.
There's so many things, that I guess just finding the right person, like you said, that volunteer coordinator who's just dedicated to doing that and helping people get on board is one thing that I should really focus on. And then from there, work on getting more people because, I worry about my number two person, Terry. I worry that she's going to burn out because her and I are on, basically from 6:30 a.m. until 11 p.m. every single day, and it's too much now. It's just too much.
Right.
And thankfully, since, I was sick and everything,